Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to this educational video for you. Today, we are going to study the civics part of Unit 5 for the students of grade 10. It is equally important for the students of grade 8 as well as the people who want to learn about the organs of the state. Let's start. My dear students, to run a country, there need some of the power or power executing organizations. We can say that in every democratic country, there is the system of separation of power. If all the power are given to a single ruler or a single person, that makes him or her autocratic and despotic, so that the principle of the separation of power has been studied. That's why to run the administration of the country effectively, there is separation of legislature, executive, and legislative, executive, and judicial power to the separate organization in every democratic country. In our country, Nepal as well, the legislative power, executive power, and judicial power are given to the separate three organizations. In Nepal, there is a legislature which carries out the legislative power or law-making power. There is executive. Executive carries out the administrative power or it implements law and it executes the law made by legislature. And there is judiciary. Judiciary is separate organ of the state. It provides justice to the people and it overlook upon the legislature and executive, either they are following the law of the country or not. Judiciary is also the guardian of the constitution. It protects the constitution, and if anybody or any organization uh, disobey the rule of constitution, then judiciary has right to punish them. That's why there is power division among the three organs of the state: legislature, executive, and judiciary. And these organs are divided the separate power. Okay, I have already told you, legislature is the law making organ, executive is the administrative organ, while the judiciary is the judicial organ of the state. Here, legislative power means law-making power. You have to easily understand. You have to remember it. Executive means execute the law prepared by the legislature. Administration, run the day-to-day administration. And judiciary means justice providing, and it punishes the criminals and gives justice to the innocent people. Now we start reading about them one by one. Now let's start from the first one, that is the legislature. Let's see. Legislature is the law-making organ of the government. Law-making organ of the government, which is composed up of the elected people's representative, elected representatives of the people. It is law-making organ which is composed up of the elected representatives of the people. It is also called parliament in Nepal. In Nepal, there is bicameral parliament, legislature. It means there are two groups of legislature, that is called the upper house and lower house. Upper house of legislature of Nepal is called the National Assembly, whereas the lower house is called the House of Representatives. Okay, let's continue. Legislature is known by different name in different countries of the world. For example, in China, legislature is commonly known as National People's Assembly. In USA, it is called Congress. It is called Diet in Japan. In Nepal, it is called Parliament. Okay, legislature can be both unicameral, having a single house, single group in the legislature, or bicameral, having two houses. In the context of Nepal, there was bicameral legislature as per the interim constitution of Nepal 2063, but now there was unicameral legislature according to the interim constitution 2063, but the constitution of Nepal 2072 has made the provision of bicameral parliament in Nepal. Bicameral parliament in Nepal. Okay, have you got it? You can note down the points so that it becomes easier for you. Now we'll continue in the next slide. Let's see about the composition of Nepal's legislature. Here we are going to talk about the federal legislature or federal parliament of Nepal at first. According to the constitution of Nepal 2072, there is 334 member bicameral parliament in our country. Altogether, there are 334 members, including both houses. Both house means upper house, which is known as National Assembly, and lower house, commonly known as House of Representatives. Joining these two houses, altogether there are 334 members. Let's discuss the first group, that is called House of Representatives. The House of Representatives, which is known as Pratinidhi Sabha, it has 275 members. How many members are there in House of Representatives? Out of 300, let me to take spotlight so it becomes easier. See, House of Representatives has 275 members out of 334 members. Altogether in both houses there are 334 members, and out of them the House of Representatives or Pratinidhi Sabha has 275 members. Out of the 275 members, 165 members are elected from single member constituencies by first past the post voting system, which is called FPTP in short. It means that Nepal has been divided into 165 election constituencies, Nirvachan Kshetra, and from each election constituencies, one member is elected on the basis of the voting system first past the post. It means there may be different candidates from different political parties doing competition in the election. Out of them, the candidate which scored the largest number of votes, he will be elected as the member of House of Representatives. This is called first past the post system. And out of 275 members in House of Representatives, I have just told 165 members are elected from each election constituencies, and remaining 110 members are elected through the proportional election system. Proportional election system is that types of system in which the voters of the vote are given by the voters or vote casted by the voters to the political parties, considering the whole country as a single election constituency. In this proportional election system, people do not cast vote to a single candidate, but they cast vote to the political party. How many political parties are doing competition in the area, in the election constituencies? On that basis, they cast vote to the political party, thinking that all Nepal is a single constituency. And the members of the House hold their seats for 5 years or until the body is dissolved by the president on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Okay. In this way, House of Representatives, member of House of Representatives are elected in two ways. One is from the direct election system or from the first past the post voting system, and remaining 110 members are elected through the proportional election system, where the voters cast the vote to the political parties, considering that whole country is a single election constituency. In this way, which political party gets the large number of votes, that party elects more member in the proportional election system. This is how. And the member elected for the House of Representatives can hold their seats for 5 years, or their post can be dissolved. If their post can end before 5 years also, if the parliament is dissolved by the president on the recommendation of the Council of Ministers, or we can say Prime Minister. This is about the composition of House of Representatives. Thank you, students, for active listening and participation. I hope you got it. If any problem, we can discuss later on again. Okay, let's go to the next group of the parliament. I have already told there is bicameral parliament in Nepal. House of Representatives is one group, National Assembly is another group. National Assembly is also known as upper house. It is Rashtriya Sabha in Nepali. I mean, National Assembly like Rashtriya Sabha bhani bhanera chiन्छ. This National Assembly has 59 members. In House of Representatives there were 275 members, and in National Assembly there are 59 members. So 275 plus 59 equal to 334 members altogether in our parliament. Got it? Okay. Thanks. The National Assembly has 59 members. Out of the 59 members, 56 members are elected from 7 provinces of the country. 56 members divided by 7 provinces. It means each province can elect 8 members. Okay. Out of 59 members, 56 members are elected from the 7 provinces. 8 members are elected from each provinces of Nepal. They are elected through the voting system, and the electoral college can cast vote for the member of National Assembly. The electoral college includes the member of province assembly, then mayor and deputy mayor of the municipality, of the concerned state or province, and chairman and deputy chairman of the rural municipality or gaunpalika. These electoral college cast the vote, and out of the candidate, 8 candidates are elected from each provinces, and they are elected as the member of National Assembly. In this way, 56 members becomes there, and then the remaining 3 members are appointed by the president on the recommendation of the cabinet or government, we can say it. Other 3 members are appointed by the president on the recommendation of the cabinet or council of ministers, and out of them 3 members, within the 3 members there should be at least 1 woman, 1 Dalit, and 1 member from the disabled group. Any 1 member can't be nominated by the president. Those 3 members, within the 3 members there should be at least 1 woman, 1 Dalit, and 1 member from the disabled group. In this way, 3 members are elected, and altogether there becomes 59 members in the National Assembly. And the National Assembly members have the tenure of 6 years. They can remain in the post for 6 years. But out of the 59 members, the term of 1/3 members expires every 2 years. In every 2 years, out of 59, 1/3 members duration will expire every quires and how they are appointed. From the same process, they will be reappointed. New members will be reappointed. Okay, and another 1/3 will be expired next year, and new one will come. Remaining last 1/3 member will be expired after 3 years, and they will be appointed again. In this way, every year 1/3 members will be expired, and new 1/3 member will be appointed. This is the process of the continuation of National Assembly. That's why National Assembly is called the permanent parliament of Nepal. When House of Representatives is dissolved by the president, also the National Assembly will be there in the country, so that the parliamentary work can be continued in the nation. This is how the Parliament of Nepal is composed. It is called the composition of parliament. If you are asked in the examination how is the federal parliament composed in Nepal, you have to write about the composition of both House of Representatives and National Assembly as well. Okay. This much about the composition. Now we go to the functions and power of the legislature. What are the functions and power of legislature? Let's discuss on it. Okay. In a democratic country, generally, legislature's main function is law-making function. That is called legislative function. So the main function of legislature is legislative function, we can say, or legislative power. Power or function, we can call it. In the democratic country, in modern time, the main function of legislature is making law. To make a law, how can it make a law? Let's discuss. Legislators can make law according to the need of time and the will of people, because they are the representatives of the people, and they have to work, they have to make the law as per the wish of the people. All the members of legislature are elected by the public people, so that they should represent the voice, represent the wish and demand of the local people or public people, we can say. To make a law, the ordinary bills, that can be bill is presented in the parliament by the ministers or any member of the parliament. Bill can be presented. Now let's say, what is the bill? You can have a inquiry. What is the bill? Bill is a draft of proposed new law that is written in a written form in a piece of paper. Bill is a purpose. You can note down in your copy, please. Bill is a draft of a proposed new law. And if the bill is discussed in the parliament and it is passed by the majority members of the parliament, then it becomes law. If the majority members do not accept it, it can be rejected. Bill can be rejected as well. You have to understand. If the bill is passed or supported by the majority members of the parliament, then it becomes law. If the bill is not passed by the majority members, they do not support on this law, then the bill can be rejected. The member of legislature or the parliament enjoy the full freedom of speech and also of criticism of the policies of the government as well. The member of parliament has full freedom to criticize the government act and suggest the government to go in the right path as well. Okay. Legislature can bring down the government as well, as we have already discussed. Legislature has such a power, they can form the government as well as they can dissolve the government. This is the most powerful body, but there is check and balance among all three organs of the state. Okay. If needed, while the bill is presented, if needed, parliament can make some necessary changes on the bill. Okay, when the parliament, both houses passes it, then it becomes law, but it needs the final approval from the president. लेजिस्लेचरले पास गर्ने बित्तिकै बिल चाहिँ ल बनिहाल्दैन, जब प्रेसिडेन्टले फाइनल एप्रुभल गर्नुहुन्छ, then it becomes law. Sometimes the old law is not needed or it requires some change. At that condition also, legislature can make changes or amendment in the existing law. Existing old law also can be amended or changed by the legislature. Okay, this is the legislative function. Now we go to the next function. Next function is financial function or financial power, or we can say is control over the budget. The legislature has control over the budget of the country prepared by the executive, especially by the finance minister. Every year, finance minister prepares the national budget and it is presented in the parliament. When the parliament discusses upon the budget, and if parliament feels it's good, then parliament passes the budget. If it is not good, at that condition, parliament can give suggestion for some changes of the budget. The executive or finance minister allocates the budget in different sectors every year: health sector, education sector, administration sector, infrastructure development sector, other to carry out the different other projects. For this purpose, finance minister separates the budget and that is presented in the parliament. If the budget is passed by the parliament, then the executive can spend the money for the development and administration of the country. You must remember that the executive can't spend even a single penny without approval from the legislature. That's why legislature can control over the budget of the country, we can say it. Okay. Now we go to the next function. Next function of legislature is the administrative function or control over the executive. Legislature, executive, and judiciary, the three organs are interlinked and related to each other. There is check and balance among these three organs. So within this, legislature also has some of the administrative power. Okay. In the parliamentary government, the legislature or the parliament exercises full control over the executive or the council of ministers. Executive or council of ministers are nominated, or you can say elected, by the member of parliament themselves. प्रधानमन्त्रीलाई पनि पार्लियामेन्टबाट चुज गर्ने हो. If the parliament is not satisfied with the act of government, parliament has power to dissolve the council of ministers. If the council of ministers is dissolved, if the parliament has power to pass the vote of no confidence against the cabinet. If the vote of no confidence is passed by the parliament, or it is also called no confidence motion. If the no confidence motion or no confidence vote of no confidence, also it can be called, if no confidence motion is passed by the parliament against the cabinet, then the cabinet will be dissolved and new cabinet will be formed. That's why legislature has administrative power. It can control the executive of the country. It can bring the adjournment motion, and okay, it can also dissolve the cabinet, or it can give support, or it can give support to the, if parliament gives support to the cabinet, then after cabinet can be continued or executive can be continued. So that either to dissolve or continue the executive is dependent upon the parliament. So executive should be responsible towards the parliament. If ministers or prime ministers, they do not work according to the wish of public, wish of the parliament, according to direction given by the parliament, then it becomes failure, it becomes dissolved. So cabinet depends upon the legislature for its existence. It is said that the life and death of the executive lies in the hands of legislature. So this is called the administrative power or administrative function of the legislature. Now we go to the next function, that is judicial function. This is the fourth and last. We read four functions of legislature here. Next one is judicial power. What is the judicial power? Let's see. Okay. The legislature has some of the judicial power as well. Legislature can amend the constitution or change the constitution. Okay. As well. Okay. And legislature can have power, okay, to remove the judges or chief justice of the Supreme Court as well. Okay. If the chief justice of the Supreme Court or any justice of Supreme Court or the member of Judicial Council show incompetence in their work or serious misconduct, if any chief justice or other judges or member of Judicial Council, they show their incompetence, they can't work competently, or they do some serious misconduct, at that condition, legislature can depose him or her by passing an impeachment motion against him or her. This is the judicial power of legislature. Again, listen. If the Chief Justice or other judges of the Supreme Court or any member of the Judicial Council, they show their incompetence to work or they do some serious misconduct, at that time legislature can remove them or depose them by passing the impeachment motion. महाअभियोग प्रस्ताव भन्छौँ हामी, महाअभियोग प्रस्ताव पास गरेर उनीहरूलाई हटाउन सक्छ. According to the article number 101 of the Constitution of Nepal, 2/3 of the existing total members of House of Representatives can pass the impeachment motion against the Chief Justice, or member of the Judicial Council. In this way, if the impeachment motion is passed, they will be removed from the post. Okay. And the members of the Judicial Councils also can be removed in the same way if they are found incompetent or doing misconduct. Such an impeachment motion can be tabled in the House of Representatives by at least 1/4 of the total members present in the House at the given time. Whoever are to make the impeachment motion or to present impeachment motion in the Parliament, at least 1/4 member of the existing member of the legislature should present the impeachment motion together, and 2/3 majority members should pass it. Only then the judges of Supreme Court, Chief Justice of Supreme Court, or the member of Judicial Council can be removed by the judiciary after passing the impeachment motion. Mahabhyog Prastab. In this way, judicial has these major four functions. Dear students, legislature also has many more functions, but here four functions are enough for us. That's why we have discussed about these four functions. You have to explain these four functions. Read well. If you have listened well, you can explain these in your own words. Now, it has other functions as well. Just in short, I will tell you. Other functions are electoral functions. Legislature also works as the member of, they are voters. Electoral function means they work as a voter to elect the president and vice president, etc. Then after amendment of constitution, existing constitution can be amended by the legislature as well if it is needed. You know that the law made once, that cannot be true for forever. It need to be changed for the change of time. Desire of people can be changed. That's why constitution is also amended by legislature. And another function or power is legislature is mirror of public opinion. Legislature work as the mirror of public opinion because they legislative members are elected by the public people and they have to represent public people, and they express the public opinion to the executive. They compels or they suggest the executive to work according to the public wishes. So that is the mirror of public opinion. They represent the public opinion. In this way, we have finished the function of legislature. This all is what we read about the function of the federal legislature. Now, besides the federal legislature in our country, there is legislature in each state, that is called province assembly. The province assembly, Pradesh Sabha, is the unicameral legislature. In every province there is unicameral legislature in Nepal, but in federal or center of the government, केन्द्रीय सरकारमा चाहिँ bicameral parliament. In every province there is unicameral parliament. According to the article number 176 of the Constitution of Nepal 2015, the dissolution, following the dissolution of the provincial assembly, all the members forming the provincial assembly are elected. The term of provincial assembly is also 5 years, except when dissolved earlier. If the parliament is not dissolved, their tenure is also 5 years. Okay. In this way, province assembly is also there. Beside that, in our federal system, there is local level in every municipality and gaupalika or rural municipality also. There is system of separate legislative practice. That's why there are 3 levels of government in Nepal. We can say central government or federal government, then provincial government or state government, and local government. In local level also, local level means municipality and rural municipality. There is also local legislature, local executive, and local judicial system. That is the provision made by the present Constitution of Nepal. In this way, we have completed the topic legislature today. The remaining topic, remaining organs of the state, executive and judiciary, we will keep on reading. Okay, this much for today. I hope all my dear students got it. If you have any queries, you can ask me in the next class as well, and we can solve all your problem and we go ahead. Today we read about the most important organ of the state, legislature. Okay, let's say bye bye for today. Thank you everyone. Have a nice time.